One of my big things with the NBA playoffs is game one can tell you a lot about how the series is going to go and who's going to win. And so officially every single game one has been played. And so let's take a look at each of them and really decode what this means and how the rest of the series will play out, because I think we actually will be in for a very fun first round. So let's take a look at the bracket. Every single team has played, and only one of the road teams have won. And so you're like, okay, it's pretty chalk, right? All the favorites are going to win. But I don't know if that's necessarily the case. Let's take a look at this. So we'll start with the West. We'll go on the West. We're not going to spend too much time on the Thunder and the Suns. The Thunder look like they're going to repeat. They look great. I mean, their depth is just insane. Jalen Williams had an impactful 9 minutes. 9 minutes, and he was impactful. I think he was like plus 24. Insane. The Suns, if Devin Booker doesn't really go off, it really doesn't feel like they have a chance. And so the Thunder, I mean, it would be shocking if it went past 5. The real first series that catches my eye is obviously Lakers-Rockets. Both these teams dealt without their A1 superstar. No Kevin Durant and no Luka Doncic. Also, the Lakers were missing Austin Reeves. And so a lot of people are picking the Rockets to win this series. I was kind of on that train. I didn't do a predictions video or whatever. This is sort of what this is going to be as we talk about game ones and whatnot. So let's click into this and really talk about this one a little bit. Obviously, Luke Kennard stole the storylines for it. Season high 27 in game one. Dude was dynamite. I mean, he clearly lifted the Lakers. This game wasn't really super close. And you could tell the Rockets, one, are missing a true point guard. That's been their narrative the entire NBA season. But now they're missing their go-to guy, right? The guy that has now catapulted them in the preseason rankings, post-All-Star break rankings, into the reason why they can win a championship. And he misses game one with a knee contusion. Don't know when he's coming back. And if he doesn't come back, this could be a 5-game, 4-game series for the Lakers, even without Luka, even without Austin Reeves. That's how, I want to say, like, mismanaged this Rockets offense is. I like Sengun. I do. He plays a certain style, though, in which can be rough at times to really get the other players on the court involved, and it's kind of solo hero basketball. And the Lakers were kind of playing the opposite of that. And so we saw the Lakers really just be able to control this game all throughout. The Rockets had their moments, right? But the Lakers being the home team, if a Luka or an Austin Reeves can come back, that obviously shifts it one way. But I think KD needs to come back fast. And even if he does, this still could be like a 6-game series at the point, even with KD coming back. And it's no guarantee that even if he comes back, they win the series. Could easily be a 7-game or 6-game series. I'm excited. Next game will be on Tuesday, so we have a little bit to wait. But I think either of these teams, especially if the Lakers are without Luka and Austin Reeves, don't stand a chance in the second round. Another close one, but it wasn't necessarily super close, was the Timberwolves and the Nuggets game one. Denver pulled away with this one late. Really felt like they were in control for the most part of this one. Now, again, Anthony Edwards and, the Timberwolves didn't really get too much help from their role players. Naz Reid didn't really play well. Rudy Gobert had a great game, but Naz Reid didn't play well. Julius Randle, I don't think, really played very well either. And so you flash back to 2 years ago when these teams met. And was that 2 years ago? Yeah, because it was 2 years ago in the semis. It took 7 games. And it was a shocking upset for the Timberwolves to beat the Nuggets. And now everyone's still taking the Nuggets. So am I. They have the best player. And it really feels like they just perform in the playoffs. I mean, Jamal Murray, his big thing was he's not an all-star, but he elevates in the playoffs. Now he is an all-star, and he's still elevated in the playoffs. And so this one, again, I hate to say this could go 6 or 7 games, but it could also really go 5 games, in my opinion, with how the Nuggets are playing right now, how they're cruising. Now, if Timberwolves are able to pull away a road win, it's not a must-win for them just yet, but if they could pull away a road win, that would be huge heading back to Minnesota, because then they could really put themselves in the driver's seat of this series. Again, it really feels like we only have 2 competitive series in the West because as we move on to the Spurs and the Trailblazers, look, Deni Avdija is a baller. He is an absolute baller. If you haven't watched too many Blazers games and you missed out on this game last night, he is the only reason. Now again, Scoot Henderson played pretty well. He had his moments, but this guy has star potential. He was an all-star this year. He has a chance, or I should say, he is the reason why the Blazers have a chance. Right? He's not the only reason, but he is the main reason. He accounts for probably 85% of the reasons why they will win the series if they do win the series, right? He will be at the forefront. Now again, will they win the series? No. Wemby and the Spurs were just way too much. It wasn't like the score didn't really dictate, the final score didn't really dictate the flow of the game. The Blazers had moments. They came out of that halftime in that third quarter and, tied the game and I think took a lead there for a little bit. But then the Spurs took a timeout and they gathered themselves and they really went on a run there in the second half. The Blazers, Donovan Clingham, he is going to have a tough time stopping Wemby as anyone is going to have. And so for the Spurs, again, this was their first real time in the playoffs with this new core. Would they be rusty, with their youth betray them and then come off and win game one? And pretty convincingly so. So should they really struggle? Maybe this could go 5 games. If the Blazers were able to steal one, I'd be really impressed. But that doesn't mean the Blazers are like a bad team if they get swept. I think, obviously, just a tough matchup. And so, but the Blazers with Avdija have a bright future. But this is really the Spurs and Wembanyama's year at this point. So then if I want to give a little quick predictions as I didn't do before, Spurs, it's pretty chalked, I would say. I'd probably pick the Lakers after game one. Before game one, I may pick Rockets. So I would go Lakers, Thunder, going Thunder, Spurs, Nuggets. I'm going to go Spurs. I'm hopping on that Spurs train. I know the Nuggets just beat them in that great regular season game. But I'm going to have to go with the Spurs in this one. I just really like their depth, too. I think they have an underrated depth. And if Jokic doesn't perform, but when is he not performed? But I think that's going to be the best series in the playoffs, Spurs Nuggets in that second round when it happens, because it's going to happen. And then you have Thunder Spurs, which this one's going to be very fun, but I'll probably take the Thunder in this one. Analytically, I'm like, yeah, Thunder as a fan, I'm like, it'd be kind of cool to see the Spurs win, but I'd probably take the Thunder to win that one. And then in the East, let's get into that's how it's going to play in the West. I have the Thunder making the finals. Shocker, right? Not really any daring picks. But let's talk about the one upset that we've had so far in the first round, and that was the Magic beating the Pistons. A lot of people were like taking the Hornets over the Pistons. A lot of people were disrespecting the Pistons, and you thought they would come out in game one and make a statement. And the opposite happened. But the Magic didn't even necessarily shoot the ball that great. However, they were still able to pull away a win. And I believe I have a video out there that I made my preseason predictions and whatnot. And I had the Orlando Magic as one of the top seeds in the East. Now that obviously has aged like crap, but like this game is a perfect example of why I thought that, right? I thought Paulo was going to be, all NBA caliber. Now again, he's had his down points this season, but he is still the vocal point of this offense, right? I like Desmond Bane as a piece. I really like him as a piece. He showed out, right? Who would have thought that Wendell Carter Jr. would have been the best center in game one, outplaying Jalen Duren, right? So there's pieces in this matchup, very underrated matchup, right? For the Pistons, the play-in kind of screwed them over a little bit. I would much rather be playing Philly than I think Orlando, just due to depth, right? Even with Joel Embiid playing or not playing, I think there's something about the Magic that presents problems for the Pistons. Now, does this mean the series is over? No. I still think the Pistons can really get back on their feet. They play on Wednesday. I'm looking forward to it. Cade Cunningham, again, he is Deni Avdija to the Blazers as Cade Cunningham is to the Pistons, right? But the Pistons have a better supporting cast. But again, it still feels like the vocal point of that offense is through Cade Cunningham. And we've seen through the playoffs, when you kind of have a solo star really control your offense, you're going to struggle in the postseason, because if you can stop him, even though he had 39 points, if you can slow him down, make him, have an inefficient game, your success is going to skyrocket. And so I still think the Pistons will win this series, but it's certainly not going to be easy for them. That is one I'm confident will go like 7 games. Right? I don't know about any of these games going 7, but this one will for sure go 7. Then we have Cavs Raptors. It always feels like in the East, the 4-5 matchup is just kind of slept on, right? Not too much attention to it. And I feel the same way about this series. Toronto being one of those teams that no one really knew where to put them at the beginning of the season. They find themselves in the 5th seed. But the Cavs, obviously, they made the trade during the season for James Harden. I really like that trade for him, getting a proven scorer. Now, James Harden has had his notorious playoff struggles, and he played well in game 1, and I do believe that this one is going to be a sneaky sweep. I think Cleveland, with their size and their front court, or in their back court, can really, really dominate this game offensively, and the Toronto doesn't really feel like they have an identity yet, and so for Cleveland, again, they have a chance to actually make a run this postseason. I like this Cleveland team. And so, obviously, Donovan Mitchell has shown out in the playoffs a little bit. He's healthy. He was struggling with health last season, and that kind of limited the Cavs in that first overall seed as they fell in the postseason earlier than they would have liked. And so, for the Cavs, they could potentially make an Eastern Conference playoff run. We'll get to that in a little bit. As we talk, Knicks and Hawks, what a series by two, proud cities of their basketball teams. The Knicks win game 1. And so for this one, again, I don't know too much about the Hawks. Haven't watched them, I'll be honest. But I do like their squad. I think them trading Trae Young kind of made clear what their identity is going to be this season. And I think the Knicks have a little bit of fraudulent to them. Now, again, it could just because they're bringing back the same squad they did last year, and that obviously showed holes in their roster construction. And so what does this mean moving forward for this series in particular? It's going to be more or less like New York, show me what you got type of beat, right? Now, again, they've proven playoff success, right? Made the Eastern Conference Finals last year. They've shown that they can win in the postseason. But it's like Atlanta's like, let's show what we got. But it's like New York, if you're going to make the finals this year, show me that you are a finals caliber team. That's what I want to see from this series. I do have the Knicks winning in probably 5 games. But still, nonetheless, Atlanta could potentially give fits to New York. And then finally, a series that if you were to tell me at the beginning of the postseason would be closer, it would be this one. But if Jason Tatum is fully back, then Boston's going to make that run. Philly, obviously, to me, this was the most disappointing. I saw this, and now again, maybe it's Philly, Boston, two big cities. I'm like, this could be a fun matchup, but that's just not what we got. And again, this is similar to almost the Oklahoma City and Phoenix series, where it's like one team is just clearly better. And for Philly, it's another probably disappointing end to your season, as Boston could win this one in 4. And so, as we take a look at this overall bracket, as I want to quickly wrap up this video, in the East, I'll take Pistons to beat the Magic. I'll take the Cavs to beat the Raptors, Knicks, Hawks, Celtics, Sixers, or to beat the Sixers. Pretty shocked so far. But then I'll actually take the Cavs to beat the Pistons. I'll take the Celtics to beat the Knicks, and then I'll take the Celtics to beat the Cavs, and then it's Spurs, Boston, Spurs, Celtics in the finals. And I'd probably take Boston to win it all this year. They just have that pedigree. I really didn't like their roster at the beginning of the year. I think I picked them to be like a 7 or even miss the playoffs, which was obviously, again, terrible pick. But I think Boston has a chance this year to win it all, and I'll probably put my money on them to be the NBA champion this year. So if your team's in the playoffs, let me know which team. Wait, hold up. If your team's in the playoffs, let me know how your confidence is in them. Do you think they'll beat whoever they're playing? Let me know which team you guys are sleeping on this postseason or I'm sleeping on. I'd love to know what you guys have to say. I'll be interacting in the comments, so make sure to leave a little comment down there. Thank you for watching all the way. If you have, make sure to leave a like and subscribe. I'm trying to get to 100 subscribers, so anything helps, especially if you can share this video to a friend or a family member. That'd be great. Anyways, I'm Jackson. This is All Jacked Up Sports. Anyways, I'll see you guys in the next video.